Well, welcome in, folks, for a beautiful Friday night, although it's not as beautiful as we would like it to be. This guy is still out of office. For now. For now, folks. Don't as Sean Hannity says, let not your heart be troubled. So, we were attacked. A bunch of three U.S. soldiers, happened to all African American, from Georgia, were attacked and killed in a drone strike from Iran. And Joe Biden, your brilliant commander in chief, spent 5 days. Yeah, we're going to get you. We're going to get you. We're going to get you. We're just going to. And now what does he do? He's warning them that we're going to do this. He probably told him when and where so they could move everybody the hell out of there. First off, and there's a lot of retired military people and current military people that are pissed off about this because it's not intelligent to tell your enemy, we're going to get you, we're going to get you, we're probably either going to go here or here. And it is rumored that Biden did actually tell them all this. So it's basically like, Allah, 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 Allah. Let me move my people the hell out of here. And now remember, the last time Biden struck back at an enemy, he wasted a bunch of money and resources and hit a bunch of empty warehouses, which did absolutely nothing. As somebody on Fox said, it's just a bunch of very expensive $1 million fireworks. So, as of now, I believe the United States is still striking Syria. We were hit by Iran. Retaliating in Syria, this is the Associated Press from Washington, D.C., the U.S. military launched an air assault on dozens of sites in Iraq and Syria used by Iranian-backed militias and the Iranian Revolutionary Guard on Friday, the opening salvo of retaliation of the drone strike that killed 3 U.S. troops in Jordan last weekend. Now, again, we were attacked by Iran, not Syria. Now, of course, they used this, but warning that we were going to attack probably made him pull out, The article continues, the massive barrage of strikes hit more than 85 targets at 7 locations, including command and control headquarters, intelligence centers, rockets and missiles, drone and ammunition storage sites, and other facilities that were connected to the militias or the IRGC's Quad Force. The Guard's expeditionary unit that handles Tehran's relationship with an arming of regional militias, and President Joe Biden made it clear in a statement that there will be more to come. Now, again, when you're telling the Iranians that we're going to attack you, they're probably going to figure, well, they have, their stuff's over here. This would be closer. Maybe we'll just move them out. Probably what they did. I will be willing to bet in the coming days, folks, when we survey this damage, that there have been 0 casualties, and most of the munitions had probably already been moved, as has happened before. And again, folks, you have to remember that these people know exactly everything that the U.S. has, thanks to Joseph Robinette Biden, yet again, when he pulled out of Afghanistan immediately. 16 American soldiers, by the way, were killed in that. And then he was checking his watch when their bodies came home. I wonder if he was checking his watch when the bodies of those 3 came home today. On a side note from that, when those he did call the parents of these soldiers, and one of them, he said, yeah, listen, my son Bo was in Iraq, and he died over there, I know what it feels like. No. Bo Biden died from brain cancer 5 years after Iraq. Could he have gotten it there? Possibly. But he was not killed in Iraq. And Joe uses this all the time. That's almost as bad as checking your watch. I mean, just saying. It's kind of disrespectful. But back to the whole, the airstrikes and everything else. It never worked before, and then he left. Again, we're on when he left Afghanistan. $80 million of equipment left behind. Now, Donald Trump had a date when he was going to get out of Afghanistan. However, all of our military equipment was to be evacuated before and with the troops. Not just bring everybody out and leave it all there so that, well, who do you think is going to get their hands on it? The Taliban. They're going to share it with Iran. They're going to share it with China and Russia and everybody else. And everybody's going to know what the hell we got. Not to mention, these are enemy countries. They're hostile actors. And a lot of their stuff might even be better than ours. The only thing that really matters in there is military morale. The Chinese and the Arabs, guarantee you, they're a hell of a lot more ruthless than the United States military. The Russians, on the other hand, they're like, we've been fighting this useless war. Let's just go and get drunk. I don't want anything to do with it anymore. Putin's an asshole. So, as of last week, we were sitting on the verge of a civil war with Texas. If you guys remember, I read out, for any of you that watched it, I have it here for my condensated fingers, where it basically says that the Texas, again, I'll read this over again. The citizens of Texas shall be incorporated in the United States, maintained and protected in the free enjoyment of their liberty and property, and admitted as soon as may be consistent with the principles of the federal Constitution, to enjoyment of all rights, privileges, and immunities of the citizens of the United States. Now, again, of course, by Joe Biden's attempt to remove the razor wire, remove this, remove that, fortunately, the Border Patrol, when he sent them down there to do that, said, we're not doing it. We're not engaging in any kind of conflict with the Texas National Guard. They basically told Biden to fuck off, which was smart, because had there been only one shot fired in this particular conflict, that would have been the beginning of a civil war. Thankfully, and it's only thankfully to the Border Patrol folks, not anybody else, that this didn't escalate into something further. Now, he's about to start World War III, because I guess maybe that's why he pushed out and hit Syria. But again, he probably didn't kill any Iranians, because Iran is allied with China, with Russia, and if the U.S. actually hit Iran, although technically they hit us first, but they didn't hit us on our own land, so that is one part of war. But even still, if you were planning just to hit Syria, Joe, why the flying fuck did you tell them about it? I mean, everywhere, the AP, everything knew that you were planning to strike Iraq or Syria, or both. So all the Iranians had to do was get the hell out of there. Unlike when Donald Trump took out Qasem Soleimani. Oh, we know he's here? He's here, right? Okay. Huge. Boom. Mother of all bombs. It's great. Boom. He's dead. He's dead. Oh, we got a ring. We got a ring, but there is nothing much left of him. A ring on his finger. That's it. And guess what? Did they strike back? No. They know that this president is weak, incompetent, a cognitive mess. And quite frankly, he's not even running it. He's being controlled by AOC, Ilhan Omar. Unfortunately, we know Ilhan Omar is in this, because that is why he's so soft on the Arab countries. In fact, they were just recently, and this one over here too, the majority of Democrats here, this is from Business Insider, the only two Democrats in the Senate appear to be John Fetterman and Joe Manchin. John Fetterman, who we all thought was a crazy, radical nut job after he had a stroke and everything else, of course he always was, has been a big supporter of Israel and a big supporter of shutting the damn border. John Fetterman and Joe Manchin declined to back resolutions supporting a two-state solution to the Israel-Palestinian conflict. So just about every other Democrat senator, this was Democrat Senator Brian Schatz of Hawaii, released an amendment to a forthcoming national security bill that affirms U.S. support for a two-state solution of the Israel-Palestine conflict. In a rare show of unity among the issue, which was increasingly to become a source of division within the Democratic Party, nearly every single Democratic senator signed on to the amendment. The only two that didn't were Fetterman of Pennsylvania and Manchin, as we all know, of West Virginia. In a statement to Business Insider, Fetterman spokesman said that Pennsylvania Democrat strongly supports the two-state solution of Israel and Palestine and always has, but he strongly believes the resolution should include language stipulating the destruction of Hamas as a precondition to peace. Now, that, on the other hand, folks, that is they're in a that is in the actual statement there, and that's a statement from John Fetterman. And the Israel and Palestine conflict has been going on forever. Now, if they destroyed Hamas, now the Palestinian supporters, these Democrats that support the Palestinians, folks, they do not, under any circumstance, actually think Hamas is evil. They think Hamas is the God. They think Hamas are freedom fighters. They do. Mr. Johnson here knows firsthand on a former Discord channel we used to frequent that these Muslim sympathizers call Hamas freedom fighters. They don't believe that they have beheaded children. They don't believe that any of this has happened. But they still chant death to Israel from the river to the sea, this, that, and the other thing. So Joe Biden has just been a complete and total clusterfuck amongst everything. I thought he was going to be really bad. I didn't think he would be this bad. I thought he was the best of all the other Democrats running. I guess considering who they were, he probably still was. But and that's really sad when an 82-year-old guy with dementia that doesn't even know today's Friday, let alone January 2nd, 2024. He might think it's January 2nd, 1924. No. Hillary, I don't think a rematch between... If Hillary went up against Trump again, he would lose. But she's also no spring chicken. Anyhow, to some more ridiculous crap that many of you may not have ever heard about, because the mainstream media has not at all spoken of this. They speak of things like when if you go into the Capitol for whatever reason, you do anything wrong, January 6th, whatever. Now, there was a bunch of pro-Palestine protesters in there the other day that were kind of getting members of Congress from going to where they need to go. Did any of them even get a slap on the wrist? No, they weren't even asked to leave. And apparently, you can be a member of Congress and film yourself having butt sex with a dude over a desk, but you can't be some dude taking a selfie with his feet on Nancy Pelosi's desk, which, mind you, he did leave a quarter for the little empty file folder he took. I will put that out there. So, yeah, no, what am I talking about? Okay, here we go. This is from the New York Post. Capitol cops refuse to file charges in congressional sex tape scandal after finding no evidence of a crime. U.S. Capitol Police said Thursday they would not press charges against men who filmed themselves having gay sex in a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing room last year. After consulting with federal and local prosecutors, as well as doing a comprehensive investigation and review of possible changes, it was determined that despite a likely violation of congressional policy, there is currently no evidence that a crime was committed. Now, hold on a second. Now, we all know that the Democrats are in charge of D.C. big time. U.S. Congress, U.S. Capitol, the U.S. Capitol Police. Okay, we know that they're very liberal. That is why they actually allowed the people on January 6th into the Capitol building. Why do you think there's 17,000 hours of footage and hardly any of it's been released? Because the mainstream media doesn't want to release it. Because then it'll make it look like it was a setup, which it was.
Oh, you didn't say the judge.
Oh, goes without saying, mate. So,
You need to read the chat. I said all kinds of things.
I have been reading the chat. I have been responding to it.
Oh, wait, your girlfriend called for sparkling water.
In the middle of a show, and it's right there. No, I just figured out.
I wanted to be happy now.
No, I only got about 15 minutes left, but she was up. So, anyhow, these two guys I was considering, there's two guys having butt sex, and they say you're not supposed to be banging people in your office in the Capitol building. Okay, I guess it's okay for some guys to film themselves having butt sex over a desk, but it's not okay for a guy to take a selfie with his feet on Pelosi's desk, right? One of the men involved has been identified as Aiden Mays Zeprowski, a staffer for Senator Ben Cardin, of course a Democrat from Maryland, who was fired after video of the tryst began to circulate on social media. Mays Zeprowski invoked his Fifth Amendment rights against self-incrimination during the investigation, according to the Capitol Police. The two people of interest were not cooperative, nor were the elements of any possible crimes met, the statement added. Our investigators are willing to review the new evidence and any should come to light. Now, hold on a second here. There is the evidence. There is the two guys banging on film on a desk in the Capitol building. How is that not evidence, folks? I guarantee you, if that was, say, Matt Gaetz and Lauren Boebert, oh, shit, it would be everywhere. It would be absolutely everywhere, folks. But hey, it's just two gay Democrats doing what they do. It's a two-tier justice system. If you're Donald Trump, that's one thing. Though I have to announce every time I'm having a truck, folks. If it's Donald Trump, it's one thing. If it's Joe Biden, it's another thing. Hey, come on, man. Joe Biden's woke. Speaking of woke, now that we've gotten over that, Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley is probably more woke than some Democrats. I would say she was on, I don't remember what show it was. I want to say it was on Fox News. I don't remember the show, where she said, now, the E. Jean Carroll Donald Trump trial, which drives me nuts. If any of you have seen what that bitch looks like, there is no way in hell he would have cheated on Marla Maples for that. Much less the fact that the woman said, well, this happened like 30 years ago. And, it was in a crowded department store dressing room. First off, there's a difference between men's and women's dressing rooms. And this was, 30 some odd years ago. This wasn't like today, when it might be okay in some places to see a guy walk into a women's dressing room. They might figure he's trans, whatever. Back then, yeah, I'm pretty sure if someone saw somebody like Donald Trump walking into a dressing room, there probably would have been pictures. Although, remember, back then, Donald Trump was a prominent Democratic businessman, and everybody loved him because he didn't have an R next to his name. Fact check me on that. I guarantee you'll find I'm right. So, the woman says, yeah, he did this. He raped me or he sexually assaulted me. So the jury found him guilty of Not rape, but sexual assault, first off. And then they of course, he didn't get charged with it or whatever. It's a very interesting case. And then they found him guilty of defamation from when he said back in 2019, no, I didn't do anything with her. She's totally not my type. And if you look at all the women Donald Trump has been with, E. Jean Carroll is definitely not his type. Now, furthermore, again, mainstream media probably doesn't talk much about this. She was on Anderson Cooper saying, well, some of us find rape kind of sexy. After she had made the accusations, and now a jury ordered Trump to pay $83 million in damages to this ugly old woman. And she goes on the Rachel Maddow show. And Maddow asks her, what are you planning on doing with the money? And she's giggling like, well, first off, Rachel, we're going to go shopping. And I'm going to buy a penthouse. And I'm going to do this, and that. Okay, first off, folks, any rape victim, like legitimate rape victim that I've ever heard of, first off, doesn't say that some people think rape is sexy with a smile on their face on national television. And they don't go bragging about how they're going to spend the $83 million. Most women that are traumatized by rape don't even want to talk about it. That's why a lot of them don't even go and pursue. They don't want to be there on the stand and be like, well, this. They don't want to be forced to recount it. She's a fraud. And again, look at a picture of Marla Maples in whatever. Let's say this happened in 1990. And look at a picture of E. Jean Carroll in 1990. There's no way Trump would even think about doing such a thing. But, I guess it is what it is. But you know what? It might all fall apart because there's going to be an appeal. There's going to be this, that, and the other thing. And speaking of cases against Donald Trump falling apart, this is a Rushism here. This, folks, is the icing on the red velvet cake. Fani Willis. She prefers her name to be pronounced Fani, but we're going to call her Fani. Probably is pronounced Fani. F-A-N-I. Now, Fani Willis, for those of you who are not familiar with the situation, this is the Georgia state election interference case against Trump. This is the one that he couldn't really pardon himself on because it's a state-issued election interference case. The DA, Fani Willis, she appointed a special prosecutor in this. His name, I believe, is Logan Wade. Nathan Wade. I was close. And she paid him over $600,000 recently, within the past year or so, which is way more than anybody makes. It turns out that she was banging Logan Wade, and there are credit card receipts and everything else, and plane tickets that show that the two of them took multiple lavish, multi-$1,000 vacations. She was banging this guy. This guy was a traffic attorney, folks. He was not a prosecutor. He was a defense. Basically, he was a high-end version of the ticket clinic as a public defender. Not necessarily what you would consider material to prosecute the former president of the United States. And let's be real. I mean, she could have picked, I mean, there's a ton of liberal lawyers in Georgia. She could have picked a bunch of people, but you know why she did this, folks? Because she was porking the guy, or he was porking her, I should say. I don't know. She looks like she might have a D. She might have been porking him. And she has the ability to sign off government checks to him, so she benefits from it. And she just tells him what to do to try and screw Trump, even though he doesn't know anything. This is abuse of the justice system by the left. She's an arguing Democrat. Everybody knows that. And that right in and of itself. Now, here I have from the U.S., from the AP, Fani Willis acknowledges a personal relationship with prosecutors she hired in Trump's Georgia case. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis acknowledged in a court filing on Friday having a personal relationship, more like a personal relationship, with a special prosecutor she hired for the Georgia election interference case against former President Donald Trump, but argued there are no grounds to dismiss the case or to remove her from the prosecution. Willis hired Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade in November 2021 to assist her in the investigation into whether the Republican ex-president and any others broke laws, and they tried to overturn his loss in the 2020 presidential election in Georgia. Since Trump and 18 others were indicted in August, Wade has led the team of lawyers Willis assembled to prosecute the case. Among acts listed in the indictment was effective January 2021 phone call in which Trump urged fellow Republican Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger to help find the 11,780 votes he needed to overturn the election to the loss of Joe Biden. Trump has pled not guilty, and his attorneys had said he was within his rights to challenge the election results. Well, of course he was. Democrats challenge election results all the time. They spent 4 fucking years saying that Russia got Trump elected, and that was false. When George W. Bush got elected in 2000, they kept saying that was stolen. Every time they lose, they challenge an election. Notice the only times they've lost in recent years was when George W. Bush in 2000. Well, they lost against Bush in 2004, but they didn't complain about that, although I did because I never liked Bush. And then they lost to Trump. And, Republicans never said it was rigged until Trump lost. And we know that was because of COVID and because they mailed out ballots to dead people. And dead people aren't supposed to vote, but apparently they did. 100,000 dead people voted in Wisconsin, and their ballots were counted. And, of course, this was conveniently found out months after the fact. So, well, there we go. We have 2 minutes left in the show. I guess we'll dedicate these 2 minutes to Chugs and if you want to be a co-host of the show, you can be a co-host of the show and call a Chug. We just have to make. So anyhow, in a nutshell, the Trump. In a nutshell, the Trump derangement syndrome that has overtaken this country by storm is beginning to backfire on the woke people that have started it. And we know, again, well, if you're gay, you can get away with just about anything. If you're a straight couple that happens to be working in Congress, good luck trying to bang in the rotunda. I mean, hell, even Bill Clinton got away with getting head in the fucking Oval Office. I guarantee you, if they caught Donald Trump and Stormy Daniels in that Oval Office, he would have been thrown out of office with a catapult. All right, folks. Another week. Be here again next week. It is election season, so I aim to be here every Friday, at least whenever I can, in order to break this down and help make sense and light and ease of the lunacy. Catch you next week, folks. Let's go, Brandon. MAGA.